Hi there, welcome back. Another edition of Tobin Talks. Here we go. When we do closings, does it have to be in person or can it be remote? It used to be when I first started practicing almost 30 years ago, a closing was a real event. It was almost a celebration. The buyer, the seller, the realtors, the attorneys, the lender, it would be in a big conference room like this. We would all sit down, the papers would get signed, people would talk, we would have pictures taken, we would hand out checks, we would exchange documents, keys would be delivered, and we would have a closing. Well, technology has changed everything. It's also changed closings a lot. So the question is, do you have to attend closing? And the answer is, not really. What's really a closing? We've talked about this in the past. It's money for paper and paper for money. When you're a buyer, you're giving money in exchange for papers. When you're a seller, you're giving paper in exchange for money. So, in the age of COVID, we've had a real issue with in-person closings. So, here's how we break it down. In a cash transaction, it's almost never required to sit down in person. We can FedEx the paper and we can wire the money. We can FedEx the checks. We can record the paper. The paper and the money can all be dealt with. In a mortgage transaction, however, things are a little different. The mortgage market is an old world market. It's one of the few places where wet signatures are still required. Electronic signing is generally not allowed with mortgage documents. The mortgages are sold on the secondary market, and because of that, they must conform to certain requirements, one of which is a wet signature. So during COVID and before that, we've almost always sat down in person in a conference room like this to sign loan documents. Now, things are changing a bit. We can even do that mobily. Doesn't mean we can do it remotely, but we can do it mobily. We can either send a mobile notary, or we can come to you, you can come to us. But for the most part, on mortgage closings, a sit-down closing is still required. It doesn't mean, and it usually isn't with all of those people that it used to be. The realtors, it's up to them as to whether they come to closing. The lender generally doesn't come to closing. And the seller's attorney, for the seller's side of the paper, generally doesn't come to closing anymore. Seller's attorneys will give the original seller's docs required under the contract in escrow. They'll either courier them, they'll FedEx them to the buyer's attorney who's going to handle the dispersing. The buyer's attorney can then meet with the buyers, sign the loan docs, and disperse everything remotely. So, when it comes to closing, if you are concerned about going to closing or don't want to go to closing, speak with us as either the seller's attorney or the title company. We'll make arrangements. As long as we know in advance, we can pretty much work around anyone's issues or schedules. So, do you have to come to closing? For a mortgage, pretty much yes, although we can work around where the signing is. For a cash deal or a sale, the answer is no, but if you want to, we are always happy to see people. In the age of COVID, we'll socially distance, we'll wear masks. It's still a cause for celebration to close a transaction. It's still a cause for pictures if you want to memorialize it. So make it what you want to make it. It's your closing. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please visit our website if you want more information on any area of real property law that we practice. Feel free to call us. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much.